back, everyone, to another episode of the R&R Podcast. I'm your host, Robert Jones, along with special guest, Ramblin' and Rashy, Randy Watkins.
This is Millrod.
I beg your pardon?
Why are you in my chair, Beat Wild? I've just been hanging out with Frylock and Master Says. Where the hell am I?
Randy, you've been under a little extra mental stress, I can tell.
Ask her crazy, bitch.
It's funny. Most people come back from the holidays rested and ready to roll. You, however, have had a mental breakdown.
Oh, man, I've got a red vessels flowing through my eyes, and I can't see goddamn thing.
Excuse me, Mr. the Wad, I need to speak to Randy right now. Can I speak with Randy?
Please take a message after the beep. Beep.
All right. Well, while we're waiting for Randy, just to let y'all know, I'm Robert, along with my co-host Randy Watkins, and this is our sports podcast where we ostensibly talk sports occasionally when we record an episode. And make 20-year outdated references, Randy.
What's wrong with Meatwad?
Nothing.
Back.
No,
I was more speaking. Sensitive meatball.
I was more speaking on the brat.
Hey, it's World Cup time. You gotta bring that brat, mat.
So, been a little while since we had an episode because dad life, hashtag dad life, for you and for me.
Yes, sir. Hashtag newborn life for you.
Yeah, that's the truth. Actually, what's so funny is that tomorrow he will be 6 weeks old.
Wow.
Practically ready for college.
What have you learned your first 6 weeks?
Hold the legs in the air to clean the butt. Make sure to put something over the penis. Otherwise, you'll get pee-pee everywhere. And just because he's fussy doesn't mean you haven't done something for him. He may just be a tiny little butthole who's just upset. Because everything for babies is hard.
That will get him to stop crying, though. Just be like, stop being a little butthole, okay? Stop crying.
That's just sit them down and rationalize with your children. Look at them tenderly in the eye and say, son, I'm really disappointed in your behavior. I'd really appreciate it if you'd stop screaming and pissing and shitting everywhere.
We have to bring that back. Is that like Masterpiece 3000 or whatever?
Masterpiece 3000. That's my everybody's dad voice. Randall, sit down for just a minute, Randall. I want to speak to you about something you said to your mother earlier today. He's so quiet, you're really upset because what he's talking about serious.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, I said she was trash. What's the point, Dad?
Well, Randy, I don't want to have to take you out to the shed like I did your other brother.
He never came back.
Well, now you understand the severity of the situation, Randall. When somebody's that calm, you're like, what's about to happen? Nothing moves the needle. Oh, man, we got a lot of stuff to catch up on. There's no way to catch up on all of it. So how about we let's get to the beats. How about you start us off there, Randy?
The beats, the PEDO files.
Yes, the PEDO files.
Yes. Lots of suspensions happening while we have been away the last couple of weeks. The most notably being Julian Edelman, which I think we talked about on the podcast. A little bit of interesting news has come out of that. And also Jameis Crablegs Winston has been suspended. So to talk about the first one, Mr. Edelman, the interesting part I thought after reading into this was that the NFL suspended him without knowing what the substance was.
Yeah, now was it one of those instances where it was a drug that's like a diuretic? So they don't know what he was on, but they know that he was trying to flush something out of his system. I'm unfamiliar with the minutia of the story.
So the diuretic is used usually to mask, right? Isn't that the drug that masks what the actual drug really is? I don't.
Yeah, generally speaking, that's why sometimes if they find it in your system, they'll be like, okay, all right, we're going to suspend you because you must be doing something.
From what I read, Robert, but that wasn't the case with him. It just it was like they. I don't know if it was like on intuition or something didn't register right with the test, so they just suspended him.
It's some kind of banned Serbian beaver hormone that you're not allowed to have. That's something that they're not supposed to have, but they can't figure out how to test for it. You've got some kind of bizarre Senegalese horse tranquilizer.
And we're going to suspend you for a quarter of the season. Congratulations.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I know how you and I feel about this, but how does Shitty Bill Belichick feel about this, Randy?
Well, I saw him down at the GNC a few months ago, and I'll be real honest with you. I'm not always the most honest person, but I saw him buying hydroxycut, and I think he was just trying to cut weight. He's getting a little bit up in age. I mean, who hasn't tried hydroxycut, for gosh sakes? We all want to trim a little belly fat every now and then and get a little in shape.
That's Mr. Belichick, yes, Coach Belichick, yeah, that's very interesting. But why aren't you wearing any pants?
Oh, I guess when you're getting old, when you show up to work with no pants on.
I'll be honest, sir. The podium doesn't hide much. It leaves very little to the imagination.
You like what you see, boy?
No.
Well, that's because it's cold in Foxborough, you dumbass.
Be even worse if he was just wearing Tom Brady's beanie over his crotch.
It says UGG on it right here, branded attire.
But yeah, so Julian Edelman suspended, and then Jameis Winston in a totally separate kind of a case, allegedly, we have to say allegedly, grabbed an Uber driver by the genitals.
It's no laughing matter. It's just nobody should be ever grabbed by the genitals unless. No, I'm not even going to mention scenarios of why that should happen.
Well, I'm pretty sure if you're going for a routine physical, that's an okay time for somebody to touch you.
Oh, yeah, very good point. So, yeah, it was a female Uber driver, and this happened actually a few years ago. And from what I had been reading, there was nothing ever came of it. He was never charged criminally.
Well, she never pressed charges. She didn't go to the police.
Right. Oh, okay. All right. I knew it was something.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing that makes me. If you were going to question anything, that's the only thing that bothers me. Is that why now after all this time?
Right.
It's like
that's what I don't understand. Like, yeah,
and also he really didn't fight back. In fact, his suspension is less than the mandatory suspension, so he must have worked something out with the league. But they're opening themselves up to lawsuits from the players' union.
Oh yeah. Oh, the players' union is going after that. But it doesn't make sense. Didn't it happen in 2015? I was trying to look through. March of 2016.
Okay, 2
was
years.
partying with friends in Scottsdale. Yeah, 2 years ago. The driver of the car, whose identity has never been revealed, so nobody even knows who it is. Allegedly.
And there's conflicting reports from his friends, but then also that could also just be his friends covering for him. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, of course. Who wouldn't cover for their friend if it's Jameis Winston? But yeah, so the NFL launches an investigation. Oh, we're gonna launch an investigation of some bullshit that happened 2 years ago, and somebody alleges something. I mean, how many of these athletes don't have something that is alleged against them? You know what I mean? Yeah. I know we have some athletes that really keep their nose to the grindstone, but if you really dig deep enough, Robert, aren't you going to find some dirt on anyone? I mean,
there's certainly some truth to that. That's here's the reason. I know we're a sports podcast, but that's one of the reasons why I say don't make heroes out of celebrity, even athletes. There's going to be an aspect of their lives that you don't like. Think about people that you love. There's things that people that you love do that you think are pretty crappy,
Mm-hmm. So. Mm-hmm. Well, it goes back to the whole Ezekiel Elliott thing and the whole investigation at the NFL. He was never charged for anything. Nothing ever criminally came to that situation either. Yet the NFL suspended him for how many games was it? Wasn't it 8 games
Something like
last year? I mean, it was crazy, dude. He lost half the season.
Yeah.
And come on, man. Since when did the NFL become an investigation bureau? That's what I want to know.
It's just for show. It's to cover their butts.
It's all PR.
They've been hemorrhaging viewers the last couple of years. So, I mean, honestly, that's kind of how I feel.
This is not even something that come up in the media lately. It's not like was reported by TMZ. Now we got to freaking investigate it before our offices blow up. To my knowledge, nothing has even occurred about it. It was just randomly out of the blue.
The NFL does have a problem on its hands. As the professional leagues go, a disproportionate number of their players are in some kind of criminal legal trouble.
And so he hasn't appealed, but Julian Edelman did, and he was denied his appeal. So that means he's got to take it to federal court. And you know how that's going to get drug out, i.e.
NFL wins every time.
With that. NFL's going to win every time.
Well, and there's just not enough strength in the collective bargaining agreement they made, a couple years back. So until that comes up again, that'll just be one of their things. So, all right.
Yeah, they really screwed themselves with that. That's a very good point.
Well, it's just so it goes. I mean, the NFL has billionaires owning the teams, and pretty much that's all leagues. Billionaires are going to be the owners of the teams. But all the deals, for the most part, have benefited the owners. Now, one of the things I heard earlier this week, people are like, oh yeah, salaries across the NFL are way lower than the other leagues. But what they don't seem to understand is that an NFL roster is deeper than all of the other professional sports. On a basketball team, you've only got 11 guys on the bench.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very small.
It's very small.
It's a very small
You're talking
roster.
about dividing the revenue of a professional team, not evenly amongst 11 players, but there's more money there. And it's like with baseball, you've got 10 guys on the field, and you've obviously got a bullpen full of people, but it's still less people on the field than in a professional football game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, food for thought.
The last piece of NFL news was I thought something that was interesting that didn't really get a lot of media play, but 4 officials or 4 referees have retired this offseason from the NFL. Most notably, 3 of the most notable ones. I think of all the referees, these are the only 3 that I really know.
Right.
Were Ed Hockley, which everybody knows him. He's the beefed up, older, ripped referee.
Yep.
Jeff Triplett and Gene Steratore.
Yep.
That's 3 huge names in a league that's struggling to or of a committee or of these referees that are struggling to officiate the games. I don't think that was getting a lot of media play, but dude, I thought that was really big news considering that these guys have been around for 20 plus years, and now they're gone all in one off season.
Maybe it's a matter of money. Maybe it's a matter of getting old. All the guys you named are getting up there in age, so there's kind of a natural progression to that. Who knows? Maybe it's conditions of the NFL and the way they treat the referees, although I don't necessarily think that's the case. There's been a ton of rule changes in the last couple of years, and that's got to get
I was going to say some of these guys are kind of the old guard. I wonder if it's just they don't want to, back in my day,
Well, remember, Steratore was the guy who made the call on Des Bryant's catch that changed the rule.
Yep.
So that's pretty big. Now, I believe Steratore in his off time or when he's not a referee, I think he's a professional attorney.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of these guys actually are. A lot of these referees for the NFL are very successful in their other careers. Refereeing is something that you start doing on the side, and when you get to that level, obviously you do less and less of what you do on the side. But they're not paid like professional players. But if you think about it, a lawyer would be the perfect person to memorize rules and be able to make a call on the field. They would be acutely aware of the fine minutia of a particular rule. You know what I mean?
Right.
High attention to detail. I would make a terrible lawyer.
I would too. Actually, I have pretty good attention to detail, but I don't have the capacity to hold all this useless information that lawyers have.
Yeah,
I think is more or less my issue.
Just shout objection all the time.
So, do you think it's concerning that we're only a few weeks away from preseason? I mean, dude, it's July. Preseason starts next
54
month.
days to college football, my friend.
Yeah, dude. They're not going to have people trained in time. There's no way they're going to have referees that are called up. And obviously, they're going to have to promote guys. It just seems like, wow, man, 4 in one off season seems like there's something more to that story.
Or is there a chance that they've been wooed away by Vince McMahon?
Yes, the XFL.
The triple XFL, where when you fumble, they, you know what.
Dude, I am so glad that you brought that up. Do you think they actually have a chance of making it this time?
I don't know, man. It really depends on how big the NFL continues to poop the bed. Honestly, you know me, I'm a fan of competition. So if they come out with a good product and it's worth watching, then it's good. I think that's good. And here's the deal. You know, the way these things go with different leagues and such, if the leagues are both competitive to each other and they're successful, eventually they merge. So if you've got teams that get built that become successful and can compete, we may get a few more teams to the NFL, which, you know, long term, I'm sure the NFL would love. But it's really just going to depend. The other thing is that if they do what they're saying they're going to do with the XFL, I can't remember what the new name for it is, the American Football League or something. I don't know. It's got a name like that.
I'll have to look that up.
Anyways, if they do go back to a more simple version of the rules and make the game more fun to watch, that could be a better product than what the NFL's putting out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what I hope for. And Vince McMahon's kind of already alluded to that it would be less about gimmicks this go around. So that it would be
scrums for the kickoff.
Right. And you and I both know that timing sometimes is everything. And what better time than now when the NFL has struggled, especially last year. Vince might actually deliver this time. It could be like a farm system for the NFL. Also, you got guys that didn't make it in the NFL that move on to the XFL or still love playing.
This way. What if it became like the MLS to the English Premier League, where players that are near the end of their NFL career come to the XFL to make some money, but also still entertain? Can you imagine if Steve Smith spent the last 3 years of his career playing on like an XFL team? I'd still watch that. I mean, I enjoyed watching him. I enjoyed watching him play in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see. It just depends on how it plays out. And here's the deal. You are competing with more eyeballs now than you ever have before, or rather with more options. You know, it's harder to keep people's attention.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how they make it interesting. And I bet you they'll have gambling from day one.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we got a couple more stories we got to hit on before the end of the show.
Yes, sir. Let's roll through it. So the big NBA news while we've been out, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. We effing called it.
You called it.
All aboard the LA wagon, baby. I'm so happy that we called
LeBron James is a Laker. I'm giving you all the credit, Randy. Remember, I was very pessimistic. I was like, what are they going to – I said – I gave it to you. I said, if he does it, it'll be for his brand. You know, it'll be to grow that brand there. But you were the one who said, you're like, you said, I believe it. I feel it. I just think LeBron James is going to be a Laker. So that is all.
And that's so unlike me, dude. But I just could not shake this feeling that he was going to be in LA. It just, everyone I talked to, I was like, dude, I'm just telling you now, there's going to be all these rumors about where he's going. He's going to freaking LA.
Yeah.
So all aboard the LA wagon, baby.
Yeah,
all the Cleveland fans.
I was just going to say a bunch of Lakers. There are a bunch of people who just became Lakers fans. Collect them all.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Put those Cleveland jerseys in the back of the closet and whip out those fantastic LA jerseys.
I'll tell you what, man, going to the West, you're talking about the hardest teams to get past are going to be in the West. But man, maybe you don't. How do you make diamonds? Pressure in time.
Yep.
So LeBron saw potential, and I guess
he
saw a piggy bank there too. I guess.
Yeah, I think so too, and it's going to be a great opportunity for him, one that may be towards the end of his career. You know, a lot's come out too about his son. You know, his dream is to play with his son one day.
Yep.
And so he might be setting up that for the future too. But you know, his son's still very young. LeBron's going to have to be in for another 10 years for him to play with his son.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that will happen, but yeah, he could. But the word on the street is also about the Lakers that they are apparently unwilling to pay a premium dollars for Kawhi Leonard. You know, that was another bold prediction by the R&R podcast that Kawhi would be the one to start joining him. But actually, in turn of events, I don't know if that's going to happen.
I have some thoughts on this. So most people would say Kawhi is probably the third best player in the league right now, easily top 5. There are some people who may put people above him, but he's at least top 5. I think most people would agree he's top 5. But the problem is Kawhi Leonard has really shot himself in the foot here because he's not worked out for anyone, and he won't let anyone see him work out. And he's not telling the Spurs what's going on. And so they're just, they're out cold. He's not doing himself any favors because if what you're trying to say is I'm healthy and I'm ready to go, you got to show people that you're healthy and that you're ready to go. So, I mean, I will agree he's a great player in the league right now, but I can understand why the Lakers are like, listen, we're not going to give you, $25,000 a year and then for you to not play.
Mm-hmm. And it becomes a free agent next year. So we're going to throw all this money at him when he's going to be essentially free to the highest bidder.
The other thing is the league has changed so much. There's a lot of guys who don't want to team up with. They don't want the pressure of playing with LeBron. They want to go build their own thing. They want all the attention to be on them. You see that over and over, and it's like you think how did you get so many egos together for the Golden State Warriors? I guess they've just there are guys who are seeing an opportunity to get in there and get a ring. So
I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with their 2 young stars, Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, over the next couple of months. Do they just shift them out? Put them in a trade package and bring in somebody, or they keep freeing up space and bring in a big star? Pretty much all the big free agents, Durant, Chris Paul George, they all re-signed with their teams. So none of those guys are coming.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, too, it's going to be let's see here. It's going to be really important. LeBron's making some calls, definitely have some influence, but the general manager of the Lakers has said explicitly that they are not purpose building a team to beat the Golden State Warriors. They are trying to look at what a successful championship winning team is and not just making a team that can beat the Warriors. Obviously you're going to have to go beat the Warriors. But they said, here's a statement from the GM. He says, if your goal is to win a championship, you've got to look at the way the champs are assembled and how you give yourself the best chance to take them down. This is Pelinka, their GM. It is certainly part of the equation. Magic Johnson and I had a conversation, and LeBron echoed this sentiment. I try to play the Warriors at their own game as a trap. No one is going to beat them at their own game. So that is why we want to add these elements of defense and toughness and depth and try to look at areas where we will have advantage. And I think that is a brilliant way to look at it. And especially, they're trying to acquire Rajon Rondo right now.
Mm-hmm. Which I think they did. Didn't he sign?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. They did. Sorry. They did sign Rajon Rondo.
Mm-hmm.
Which they've got Lance Stevenson as well.
Yeah, that's true. I can't imagine Rondo starting. I mean, he's going to be coming off the bench like he has been. But Stevenson definitely could start, probably will, I'd imagine.
But it really makes you wonder, surely somebody has got to want to come and play with LeBron and kick some ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why would you not want to play with the best player in the league?
Well, there's a high chance for a championship, a ring. I don't know many people in the league. And granted, you made a very good point about there are going to be players in the league say, you know what, that's not for me. I'm my own person. I.e. Carmelo Anthony, who's always been like that. I don't see him trying to do something like that. They wouldn't be interested in him anyways. But there've got to be so many more guys saying, dude, I want to play with LeBron because there's high probability I'm going to be bringing home a ring. That's all I care about right now.
And that's the thing. And the other thing is there are some people who try and say that LeBron is difficult and not easy to work with. I want to bring up an interesting story. Tyronn Lue, the coach of Cleveland Cavaliers, through a circuitous connection in coaching, actually is connected to Luke Walton, the Lakers' current coach.
Okay.
And Walton asked Lue to meet him for lunch to talk about what it's like coaching LeBron. And Tyronn Lue came out publicly and said, listen, I'm having this lunch. But one of the things he wanted to say is he says, people think that LeBron is uncoachable or that he won't let you give him advice and that he makes all the decisions. And Tyronn Lue basically said, listen, that's not the case. LeBron's one of the most coachable guys I've ever worked with. He listens, he's receptive. And basically what he's going to be talking about with Luke Walton is his strategies that he's used to work with LeBron. And it kind of bothers me, but I guess it's when somebody's that much of a star and they've made such public decisions about where they're going and how they recruit. There's this image of, well, obviously you can't coach him. He's not going to listen to whatever you say. So it was really interesting to hear that, because why would Tyronn Lue come out and say that if it was a lie? How does that benefit him? He just lost his star player. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. That says a lot about him and a lot about his character too. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Also interesting to see what they do in Cleveland, dude. Do they just blow up that roster again and start over just like they did this year? I mean, I
guess they'll have to. They still have Kevin Love signed to a contract.
Yeah. And
but everybody else is just falling apart.
Yeah. Yep.
J.R. Smith going to be your star? No.
That bonehead.
Well, we got a couple more things we need to touch on here.
Sure.
So let's bring it around.
A couple other last remaining free agents we wanted to mention. DeMarcus Cousins to the Warriors, I thought was interesting. Yep. Another big center. And Tony Parker to Charlotte. What did you think of that?
Money grab.
Yeah,
I mean, and I actually feel like the Spurs are trying to keep Kawhi. They're like, look, we jettisoned all of our old guys. Please stay, because they were the ones who were ragging on Kawhi for being injured and not playing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was your Tony Parker. It was your Manu Ginobili.
Mm-hmm.
So
I thought that was interesting. Anyways, moving on. World Cup has been going on the last few weeks. We haven't got to talk a lot about it, unfortunately. With our breaks, but today the final was set. Croatia versus France.
I'll tell you what, man, I thought for sure England was going to do it, but they were gassed. Croatia, like their last three matches, they outlasted their opponent. I don't know how that little country that has so much stamina, but they outlasted Russia and they outlasted England. Mm-hmm. That's impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see what they can do in the final against the powerhouse of France. So,
well, and what's so funny is that both of these teams are pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Much different than the last World Cup. France kind of had some aging stars, so they cleaned house. Brought in that was the word going around about this time in France, that France is so deep. They have so many players that aren't even on the roster.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that they're going to be returning, and this is Croatia's first World Cup final. So
yeah, I mean that's insane. Well, I mean Croatia, it's just a tiny little country on the Adriatic Sea east of Italy.
Yep.
It's astounding. By the way, beautiful country. I would love to go to Croatia one day. The food is amazing. The people seem to be amazing. Every Croatian I've met has been super friendly.
Full of Catholics there.
I would assume so. It's the region of Europe of Roman Catholicism.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're literally a sea apart from Italy, so their food is very Mediterranean. Last little bit of soccer news: Ronaldo is leaving Real and going to Juventus,
which is I thought was surprising. He's going back to his former club and not PSG. A lot of people were talking about going to PSG in the offseason.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't exactly understand the choice. Why? But maybe he's. I mean, here's the deal. What's he chasing? He is not chasing championships. No. He's got those. 3 and 4 years. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
And not and Champions League, championships. That's a big deal. That means you're the best club of the best league in all of Europe.
I didn't realize that he's been at Real for 9 years. I did not realize it's been that long. But
well, time flies when you're a piece of shit, Randy.
It certainly can't be money that he's after either. God, the man's got money falling out of his ears.
Yeah, well, he owed Portugal a bunch of back taxes. No. Oh, wait. That seems to be the story with all athletes. It's like they just forget to pay their taxes.
Well, let me tell you, if you never open the envelope in the mail, then you never got it. So you just throw it in the trash, dude. You don't owe it, man. That's how it works.
I need to employ that strategy, Rando.
No,
I'm sorry. I didn't get it. It's not like a court summons, Randy. You don't have to be served.
That's what my mom always told me. If you don't read it, you don't. It's not real.
Like the Bible.
Last bit of news came out this weekend after the UFC's latest pay-per-view. Brock Lesnar was called into the octagon by Daniel Cormier and challenged to his next fight. So Brock Lesnar will be returning. And it's funny how I found out about this, and I was telling a friend of mine today. I get an alert on my phone. Brock Lesnar rushes into the octagon after UFC 218, and I'm like, oh, I got to see this video. I got to see it. And I picture him running down the ramp, and he's got his shirt off, and he's got a chair in his hand, and he's just running down. Like flies in. No. And I watched the video, and he's sitting ringside, and Daniel Cormier says, Brock Lesnar, get in here. He stands up, and he walks in there. And he's in a 3-piece suit or 2-piece suit, and he just walks right in. They start talking. It was so unlike what I pictured in my head at all.
That's crazy.
But do you think I don't know if you keep up with much UFC, but do you think he can? I mean, he has always brought numbers. If you watched any of his pay-per-views, he always brings big numbers.
UFC keeps chasing off all their stars, but they're starting to run the UFC like the WWE. I mean, look at what they did with Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor's going to come back at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all drama. It's all manufactured. It's that Greek tragedy. It'll bring back numbers. The question is, will they have somebody with staying power? The problem with these UFC guys is that they aren't marketable outside the sport. They keep trying to. Like, they've got that guy who's doing the Dos Equis commercials now. And he's an interesting guy. He's like a volunteer firefighter and part-time. And, I'm blanking on his name. But anyways, you may have seen the ads that are going around. But these guys really aren't marketable to the masses outside of the fight. You don't see him on a State Farm commercial with Aaron Rodgers. Because these guys are gorillas. They're brutal. I mean, they're ripping each other apart.
I think...
Plus, I told you Brock Lesnar looks like John Cena was stung by a bunch of bees.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. I agree with you, dude. They're not marketable. They're brutes a lot of times, just boneheaded jocks, and they don't have the face for advertisements. Like, half of them are beat all to hell with the cauliflowers.
They have a face for radio, Randy.
Yeah, exactly. So,
come here, kid. You got a face for radio.
Step right up, yeah. Face for radio. So I don't know. We'll see. I do like that he always brings numbers, but I'm with you. I don't think it has the staying power. He'll be one and done again, and he'll be built up again for the next fight. They've chased off every great heavyweight that they have. The championships just aren't what they used to be 10 years ago. They've lost all their big stars. I don't know. The product is just really struggling right now.
Yeah, I guess time will tell. I'll be honest. I catch more results than actually sit down and watch fights.
I used to watch a bunch. And it's tough these days. I used to really enjoy going to see them, but with the lack of superstars and true interest in it, I have not shown up in a while. I think the last fight that I did actually watch was a Brock Lesnar fight, actually, because those were some of the most exciting ones. I thought just a heavyweight. It's something about heavyweights, dude. You know they're just gonna pummel each other.
It's going to be blood sport. Well, to end the show, I want to thank Meatwad and Shitty Bill Belichick for stopping by the show. Also want to thank our Patreon supporters, Adraxis, James, and Arcane Scroll. Thanks for supporting the channel. As always, we appreciate that. If you'd like to keep up with us on Twitter, you can find us at CriscoCast, on Facebook, Crisco Industries, on YouTube.com/CriscoCast. Got a lot of good video content there, so check us out there. And if you'd like to support the show and the channel, please check us out on Patreon.com/Crisco Industries. Just a couple cents a day helps keep the servers on and the lights on. We appreciate every little bit. And if you can't do that, just tell your friends and family, tell your granny, tell your mom, tell your priest. Yeah, that's a good place to start. Tell your priest about the show.
Yeah, that's right. Tell all the little kids that you know too.
Oh God!
Tell them to come on down to my new pop truck that I got.
But oh God! Don't tell Herman. We don't need Herman hanging around. Herman, get out of here.
You got to at least pronounce my name right.
So what is your Christian name, Herman?
It's Herbert. Yeah.
Oh, Herbert. Oh, Herbert. My apologies, you sick old PEDO-phile. And last but not least, I have to thank
Hail
Dave
Grohl, baby.
Goodness gracious. Y'all have wasted another week on the R&R podcast. So, for my special guest, weekly special guest, Randy Watkins, I'm Robert Jones, and we will see y'all next time.